What up, adventurers? We are back in the 40k verse, painting up what you are not going to see on the screen, so I'll put a video here somewhere, but it is an Ambull from the Blackstone Fortress setup. I am painting mine in the scheme that I fondly remember as a child of the 90s. I had this dude, well, not this dude, but the 1980s version of this dude on a combat card, and I fondly remember it, so I'm going to be recreating that model. As always, I'm not really going to talk about the paint scheme. Bottles are going to pop up, you know the drill. I'm going to talk about the lore instead, about the Ambull, the Ambots, and everything in between. So hopefully you will enjoy, and I'll catch you on the other side. Deep beneath the surface of alien worlds, something stirs. Huge claws gouge tunnels through stone, mandibles twitch with hunger, and alien eyes pierce the dark. This isn't a tyrannid, an orc, or even a demon. No. This is something stranger. Buddha, a monster that's been lurking in Warhammer 40,000 since the 1980s. Today on Adventures with Peps, we're going to look at the Ambull, a beast that clawed its way through multiple editions of Warhammer history. From its appearance in White Dwarf to its role in the Cain Black Library novels, to inspiring the deadly Ambots of Necromunda and finally making its grand return in Blackstone Fortress. Grab a flashlight, because if the Ambull catches your scent, there's nowhere to run. The Ambull first appeared in the late 1980s during Warhammer 40k's Rogue Trader era. It was previewed in White Dwarf 99, where the Perry twins were shown working on a new miniature, an insectoid brute called the Ambull. The article described it as one of the galaxy's resident alien horrors, originating on the scorching desert death world of Luther McIntyre 9. There the Ambull adapted to survive blistering heat by tunneling deep underground, becoming a predator that bursts out of the ground without warning. But its most famous early spotlight came a little later in White Dwarf issue 108, which I think was December 1988. I would have been a wee lad at 5 years old. And it actually appeared in a fantasy role-play adventure, Terror in the Darkness. The Ambull had crossed over from 40k into the fantasy setting. In that adventure, the creature was transplanted from the far future into the old world, used as a terrifying underground monster for the RPG. This dual life as both a sci-fi alien and a horror monster that could fit into a dungeon crawl gave the Ambull a unique place in Games Workshop's early history. It wasn't just another gun-toting alien, it was a true monster. Of course, the Ambull didn't stay locked away in the dusty issues of White Dwarf for long, and it soon came roaring back in the pages of Black Library fiction, most memorably in Sandy Mitchell's beloved Cain novels. Commissar Cain, the so-called hero of the Imperium, is best known for surviving the impossible through a mixture of cunning, cowardice, and charisma. And one of the many dangers he encountered in his career was the Ambulls. He actually found them on, I believe it was an ice planet, when he was fighting the Necrons and discovered that the Ambulls had tunnels and were burrowing underground and causing all kind of trouble for his forces. These monsters were almost unstoppable as guardsmen's lasgun fire bounces off their armor, men getting ripped apart in seconds, and the Commissar scrambling to survive, all the while trying to look heroic in front of his troops. It works perfectly in this context. It's not a scheming villain or a chaos champion, it's just raw alien terror. For readers, these scenes mixed horror with humour, showcasing both the monster's power and lethality with Cain's razor-thin escapes. It cemented the Ambull as more than just a model from the 80s, it became part of Warhammer 40k's storytelling. But it didn't end there, it never stops there. So the novels obviously landed well. The Ambull throughout the years had always been a popular model, and on the second-hand market it was still gaining quite a bit of price. I could never afford to buy one secondhand. And it ended up inspiring the design studio, I guess, for Necromunda. And they ended up building what became known as the Ambot. And this creature in the lore was designed by the Adeptus Mechanicus, who had studied the Ambulls, fascinated by their tunneling abilities and brute strength. So Seeing what seemed like a very good solution to a problem, they copied the creature's natural design and replicated it in mechanical form. The result was the Ambot, a massive mining machine built to chew through solid rock. Of course, in Necromunda, nothing stays innocent for long, and these mining constructs found their way into the Underhive, where gangs repurposed them for combat. Heavily armed, heavily armoured, and terrifying in close quarters, Ambots became a favourite mercenary unit for players looking to add real muscle to their gangs. This was a clever bit of world building. Instead of just leaving the Ambull as a weird monster in the background, Games Workshop asked, what would the Imperium do if they found such a beast? And the answer, of course, was dissect it, weaponize it, and turn it into a machine. Classic Imperium thinking. After years in the shadow, the Ambull finally made a full comeback in the 2019 Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress. This cooperative board game brought back the feel of dungeon crawling that we had been lacking since Warhammer Quest, but set it instead in the 41st millennium. Players explored the labyrinth halls of the ancient alien fortress, the Blackstone Fortress, encountering all sorts of threats, alien, chaos, each other, but one of the most infamous was the Ambull. The deadly Ambull expansion pitted explorers against the creature in a terrifying lair scenario. Here the Ambull wasn't just another enemy, it was the boss fight. Its massive claws could cut down explorers in moments, and to make things worse, it often came with boar worms, which I'm not painting in this video, so you won't see them at this stage, but they're basically smaller spawns that made the fight even deadlier for the heroes. The miniature itself, as you can see throughout this video, was a triumph. It's bigger, bulkier, dripping with details. It is a modern reimagining of the old Ambull while staying faithful to its roots, and for many new players this was their first real encounter with the Ambull, making it feel fresh and relevant again. And perhaps most importantly, Blackstone Fortress re-established the Ambull as part of 40k canon. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was a living, breathing and burrowing threat once more. What's the legacy of the Ambull? From a quirky monster in White Dwarf to a horror in the Cain novels, from inspiring Necromunda's Ambots to being reborn as a terrifying mini-boss in Blackstone Fortress, the Ambull has earned its place as one of Warhammer's most enduring alien threats. It represents something vital about the setting. Warhammer 40k isn't just about Space Marines and Chaos Gods, it's also about the countless alien horrors lurking in the dark corners of the galaxy, creatures that just don't care. Whether you're a human fighting for the Emperor or a cultist fighting for the heresy, they don't care, they just want you dead. And maybe that's why the Ambull still is a part of our psyche. It reminds us that in the grim darkness of the far future, death doesn't always come from bolter or demon. Sometimes it comes from beneath your feet in the form of claws and mandibles. So the next time you hear scratching in the walls or rumbling underground, you better hope it's not an Ambull. Now, hopefully I've talked long enough that this video is done and I don't actually have to talk about my painting, which would be wonderful. And if you've enjoyed this dive into the Ambull's history, don't forget to like, subscribe and share your own favourite Ambull encounters in the comments. Was it in the Cain novels, on the table with Necromunda's Ambots, or maybe during a desperate fight in the Blackstone Fortress? As always, I appreciate you watching, and remember, in 40k, sometimes the scariest monsters don't come from the warp, they come from beneath your boots. Dun dun dun. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and then go watch this one. This one up here. Give it a click. Bye-bye.